Oh, hello. I forgot I had you. So, the Model 95, the IBM. So what we have here is a machine that I did a video on a couple months back. This was an IBM PS2 Model 9595, and this machine has a fairly interesting history, at least as far as how it pertains to me. This computer was one that I had salvaged from a job that I had back in 2001. And shortly after that, it found its way at my high school. And I ended up basically giving it to one of my friends who was in a computer science class or something like that. And they had all these high hopes and dreams of doing something with this machine, I guess. And, well, that didn't really pan out. I don't even know what they did with it, honestly. But it ended up, upon graduation in 2003, it went home with another friend of mine. He took it. And I'm trying to get this cover off, and I don't remember how I did it. I'm so stupid. Oh, there we go. So anyway, it ended up going home with somebody else, and it sat in his father's basement from about 2003 until quite a few years later. And long story short, this machine hasn't run in decades. Decades, yeah. This thing probably hasn't been turned on in about 17 years. And I was in touch with this other friend who ended up with this machine, and I said, hey, he actually mentioned to me, he said, by the way, I still have your PS2. And I said, oh, really? And he says, let me swing by your house. I'll bring it over. So, okay. Let's do it. Let's get it. So here it is. Well, the thing is, at some point from sitting, this machine has suffered catastrophic failure. It doesn't do anything anymore. I'll plug a power cable into it and see what doesn't happen. So, yeah, in that last video I made, we determined that the power supply had failed. And he said he had run it probably as late as probably around 2004, 2005 maybe, is the last time he ran it. And it worked. He said it worked. Well, that is no longer the case. Let's find a power cord that fits this stupid thing. Here's one. So all it does is, well, it does nothing. I'll plug it in. All right. And we'll try to turn it on. Oh my God. It turned on. Okay. Well, it didn't do that before. Let's hook up a monitor. Holy crap, I was not expecting this. Alright, so I just hooked it up to a keyboard and mouse and monitor, and I had the drives unplugged because this is all part of the troubleshooting I've been attempting earlier when it wouldn't do anything. It just wouldn't turn on. It would do nothing. And now it does something. So let's find some power cables. Move up to it. Get it hooked up. Well, I was going to go into a whole big song and dance on how we're going to probably try to rebuild this power supply this winter, because I was saving this project as a winter project, and well, we're not out of the woods yet. Let's see what happens. Holy shit. The drive is stuck. But we have a post. There it goes. It's had a BIOS update. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Status display works nice and bright. It's posting. Did a floppy seek. freaking believable. Well, we knew that. Configuration not valid or system complex error, and it shuts off. Okay, maybe it's not a power supply issue. So it looks like we might have to run a reference disk on this thing. Wouldn't that be great if that's all that was wrong with it? Hard drive spins up. Let's see what happens. I did put a new clock battery in it because the battery that was in there had actually completely failed. But it didn't leak. We'll just give it some time. What do we got? CP 58. I gotta find out what the codes are for that. Let's do fast startup mode. Configuration not valid. There we go. 0001 7300. It's gonna shut off. Up, up, up. It's actually booting this time. Up, up. Here it goes. System had an error in the battery. Oh, well, we're getting somewhere. I think it wants to run. I forget. Does this roll switch have to be up or down? Let's shut it off. We'll try it again. Make sure everything's plugged in because I had this thing all torn apart. Make sure it's all connected. Nothing's loose, everything's in place. I know these PS2s can be real bastards. They really can. We have the fan disconnected, so that might... I'm not sure if that gives us an error. I know nothing. I'm going to just be straight. The only PS2s I really knew anything about were the Model 80. I had a Model 80, a Model 60, a Model 30. Both Model 30s, the 286 and the 8088. I've had a few PS2s in my day, but never really did anything with the 95. When I got this machine, it booted straight away. It had no issues at all. It ran just fine. But I'm pretty sure that having to run a reference diskette might be, configuration not valid. 17300. That's because that's this code here, and that's because the BIOS has been cleared. So it's like it's trying to boot. I'm gonna have to look up what that code means. Let's see if I can bypass that. Let's see what it does. Yeah, we know the time's not set. So the 9595, when I got this machine, it was worth nothing. But in 2021, some weird shit happened, and now it could be worth thousands. F1 for setup and diagnostics. Let's see. See if it lets me do that. A working 9595 is a thing to behold. It's got 65 megs of RAM. And did it register my F1 stroke or not? Date and time, we know that. Can we get through this, honey? Can we please get by this? Are we booting? Power on password isn't valid. It just gets stuck. But it's... here we go. Enter. Power on password has been corrupted. It has been removed. Continue. Let's do the... more utilities. Set configuration. View configuration. This will tell us what we have. We've got a 2.88 meg floppy, math coprocessor, blah blah blah. Hands off. A 60 megahertz Pentium. Oh my god, this isn't the 486 I thought it was. It's a Pentium 60. Sweet. This is a first generation Pentium. I thought this had a 486 in it all this time. No shit. It's got the 3-com network. Yep, that would be the... Is that token ring? Does it support token ring? No, it's Ethernet. Bitchin'. Guys, I am blown away. I did not expect this thing to come up. I thought it was going to pop or something. Run automatic configuration. Let's let that do its job. It's going to configure the SCSI devices. I'm not sure if this SCSI card has a battery on it to save configuration data, but let's see. Let's see if it detects the CD-ROM drive in the hard drive. Let's take a look at the SCSI card. Where is the SCSI interface on this guy? Oh, it must be on board. Oh yeah, it's right there. It's on board. Okay, so what do we got? Hard drive, 1 gigabyte hard drive. That must be the ROM device. That's our CD-ROM drive. I apologize for you microchannel nuts. I am not... Ooh, we have a power supply problem. What do you think? Yeah, it's getting a little finicky. Shut it off. Give it a minute. No, it's dead. Well, the good news is, yeah, it's back to where it was before, where it just kind of goes. It won't stay running. I don't smell any smoke. But boy howdy, that CPU's throwing off some heat, man. At least we know it runs. So it's got a good, we know what it has for configuration. It has a Pentium 60. What I thought was a 486 is actually a Pentium 60. We know that the SCSI interface works. We know the hard drive spins. We did not successfully get it to boot, unfortunately. So that happened. But this is not the video I was prepared to make. I'm floored, honestly. I was not prepared to make that. This is not how this video was supposed to go, because every time I've tried powering this thing up, it doesn't do a damn thing. We're back to that. Status now. So why don't we go ahead and pull the power supply apart and take a look at what's in there. This is a pleasant surprise. I wasn't expecting, this was not how this video was going to go. So why don't we yank the power supply out of its swingy bracket and pull it apart. But we know there's a problem with it for sure. Yeah, it wants to, but it doesn't want to. Okay. I'm going to pull this out. I want to take a look at what's in there. I can't seem to get a consensus as to what goes on these machines, so we're going to just check it for any physical damages. And I don't have a schematic for this power supply, but I'm sure one exists. So we'll just unplug it and let's pop it back in, see if it wakes up. But there is a way to bench test these on the model 9595. You just plug it in to a power source. Let me do that. And I'm also told that there's a way to rig up a modern day power supply that will supply the correct voltages to the relevant points. I'd rather save the old power supply than do that. There's a little button here. You're gonna need a pen to press it, and we're gonna press that little button, and it should turn on. It wants to. You just press it and hold it, I think. And see how it just turns right off? So we don't know whether it's capacitors, we don't know, we just don't know. So step one, we got to get this thing out of the chassis entirely. And there's a little locking tab here, we'll just remove that. Now this is a PC that was built for service. It was built to be serviced. They don't make shit like this. Actually, no. I think servers are still built to be relatively repairable, only because of the nature of what they're used for. You know, you can't run a business on a server that, oh crap, it doesn't work anymore. Time to throw it away and buy a new one. I don't think that would work out very well. So this should all slide out like that, making it one of the easiest power supplies to remove. And this thing is big. Beefy. Alright, let me unplug all this crap and we'll move it out of the way. I don't want it to get damaged. But we know the complex board works. We know again, for the most part, basic functionality. The hard drive does a seek. We know it has a 1 gigabyte hard drive. We know it's a Pentium 60. I mean, these are all very good things to know, and I'm kind of happy that it has all this. And being in a machine that I owned in high school that just kind of found its way back into my possession, we gotta fix this thing. We have to. It's like the law, man. A biostate of 1998. So this thing has been in service at least until the, I'd say probably around 2000 or so. You know, it was in service for a good while. It was built in 1994 for the, yeah, date code 9409 on that power supply. So let's get this thing apart. What do we need to do? Well, sir, we need some security screw bits. I've got some in my car. Let me go get those. All right. So I got my security bit set. Funny thing. This was the very first item I ever bought online. No, seriously. The very first item I ever bought online was this security bit set. It was an eBay purchase, and I still have the set complete to this day. It's incredible. I bought it, just FYI, in case that person is watching this channel, I bought it from an eBay seller called Widget Supply. And so A+, my friend, A+. It's like the USB type A connector. It's the third time you try. Alright. So IBM has always used security bits on their power supplies because it's the no-touch zone. So, yeah, there has been a lot of talk on how to fix these power supplies, and, well, because they're all at the age where they're going to be failing. Just because of age. Not because it got struck by lightning or a smooth criminal or anything, but because they're old. And just like Grandma, old things break. So, to me, my gut feeling is we're looking at bad capacitors. That's all. That's all it is. That's all it's going to be, I'm sure. That's not a big deal. We played this rodeo before. Now how do I get this? Oh, that's held in with adhesive. Well, ain't that special? All around, or just there? Oh, yeah. adhesive, that's all it is, just adhesive tape. We can fix that. So let's get this thing apart, shall we? This swings open. Oh, you got to take the handle off. And to that, we're going to need a flathead. A bigger flathead than that. Now, in the field, when these systems were running the world, this would be an FRU, and that being a field replaceable unit. And what you would do... Oh, I get it. I'm doing this all wrong. You're supposed to pull the circlip out, and this whole thing comes out as one. So let's just do that, shall we? I'm going to need... Just pull out this little circlip here. There we go. Spring loaded. Just make sure you know that. And make sure that spring's not going to fall in. Oh, we're good. And look at that. Look at that. This is just to lock the power. I mean, the way they built things back then, it's just incredible the way things were made. Now, yeah, as a field replaceable unit, you would just take 5 seconds and pop this thing out, pop in a new one, and hit the switch and move on to the next job. That's how it was done back in the day. But unfortunately, the FRU is no longer available. I can't just phone up IBM and say, give me one of these, please. We just got to remove 2 Phillips head screws from the top, and I think we'll be in. Does this kit even have a Phillips head screw pit? I don't think it does. What's this? Oh, it's got one. Oh, no, this is not the right bit. Interesting. There we go. Oh, it's a security fill. Oh, for crying out loud. It's got a security Phillips. See, IBM, you know, they take this shit seriously. They don't want you taking that apart. No, no. No, that is supposed to go to the trash, and you pick up a new one from the service depot. And then you put it in. That's how you fix it. I'm pretty sure I had one of those Phillips bits, but that does not seem to be the case. I got an idea. Rather than butcher a bit, I decided that these snap ring pliers just might do the trick. Yeah, look at that. Perfect. Now let's take a peek inside here. I don't smell anything burned. Nothing obvious anyway. See a lot of old capacitors, but no smoking gun, so to speak. Now, the reason that they don't want you in here is because there is, even unplugged, you will get shocked. Alright, let me reach up behind the connector, and there's, if you get a good look at this when you have one of these apart, you'll see what I'm talking about. But there's a locking ring that clips around the pin connector, and you have to remove that locking ring to get the cover off. So it's a little bit of an astronaut-ish level. My astronaut. It's a little bit of an aerobatics movement to get those little pins, little clips undone. So just beware. But yeah, I didn't realize just how special these machines were when I found that they were selling in working condition for upwards of $3,000. It just seems like an astronomical sum of money for something like this, but never underestimate the value of vintage technology is the moral of the story. Somebody's paying for that. I don't know who. It's okay. It's not for sale, so if you're asking, it's not for sale. Let's take a look inside. So it's relatively clean in here. Now, it's a possibility that it could be a relay. This is a power relay. I don't know. I'm just kind of looking over things here, and it could be a bad relay. Now, those are easy to test. Just apply voltage across the coil and see if it closes the circuit. But I see a lot of very old capacitors. And it could be a relay. Could be a relay. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. Now, if we were to replace all the little guys, it would take a lot of time and a lot of money. I don't want to put a lot of money into this thing. I really just don't. So, but you want to watch out because, you know, especially, yeah, you've got a lot of capacitors on this side of the board that are potentially fully charged right now, and you want to make sure that you don't touch anything. You want to be real careful. Is the moral of this story. But I'm not an electronics engineer or nothing, but my suspicions are pretty simple. They're bad capacitors. Well, I'm looking at you, Mr. Relay. Oh wait, that's not a relay, is it? No, I don't think it's a relay. What is that? It looks like a relay, but it's not a relay. A relay would have a diagram on it usually. Got a lot of ways this thing could fail, and I'll be the first to admit I'm not an electronics whiz, but I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to play. But obviously, now these capacitors are not the modern day water-based ones. You know, these are old-fashioned caps, and these usually last a good long time. But let's be honest, this machine is almost 30 years old. And electrolytic capacitors don't typically go that long without problems. So just keep that in mind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some voltage to it, and we're going to hit the test switch. Let's see what we find. But I'm looking for I guess I'm looking for a smoking gun. That's what I'm looking for, and I'm not going to find that. Because I had it running, I'm feeling quite confident that this is really the solution. Because it runs, that's a good thing. It did run. And capacitors can create intermittent problems. Absolutely. So I'm going on a limb here. I mean, I would be doing this anyway, right? If you're going to fix a power supply, you got to start somewhere. Capacitors are always a good place to start on something this old. So what the hell? Let's just do it. I'm going to go on Mauser in just a minute, and we're going to just see what we can find. Now, the beer can sized one is going to probably cost a few bucks. A few bucks. Just a few bucks. Probably going to be a $50 part or more. But this whole thing does come apart pretty easily. The fan unplugs, and you just have to remove the power socket, which is surprisingly held in with standard Phillips screws. We got to remove the power socket and the ground wire, and that'll give us access to what we need. You see, it's all kind of torn apart right now. But yeah, this whole thing slides apart. It looks intimidating because it really is. I mean, there's a lot of voltage potential in this sucker when it's fully energized. But what are you doing? guys are doing. Okay. You're going to want to measure the size when you're looking at buying one of these parts, especially when there's a possible clearance fitment issue. So I'm going to get this in a position where I can measure it with my calipers. We need the depth. Oh, this power supply was made by Delta, by the way. Not that that matters. It's 51 millimeters tall. By about 35 in diameter. So then you got to worry about the temperature rating. 85 C in the mean time between failure. I think that's what that is. 470, 450, 35, 50. What's the temperature rating on this one? 105. So we want to try to find one that matches that and has the same basic principle, similar whatchamacallits. So I think there was one on the very top of the list here. 35 by 50, 470, 450. By 50. Where's the temperature rating? ESR life 3000 hour. It's not stated, so I'm gonna just (6)(1) of 22. Let's see. We could go a little bit shorter. I mean, it can be shorter. This one's a long life aluminum electrolytic lead time 40 weeks. Okay, so that's a no. 25, let's see. 35 by 50. What the hell? Rated for 2,000 hours. It also tells you what the ESR rating should be. We don't know what that's supposed to be. Let's see, 450, 470. I don't know what the M means, but we'll take a look. Does it tell me I can't choose the temperature rating? We're going to just wing it. I'm going to just buy whatever and hope it works. It's not going to fail immediately. I mean, this thing isn't really in service as a daily driver anymore, so I think I'm going to go with my gut and just buy this. It's only $9. I'll put it on my shopping cart. And we'll just do it. Mauser's great. Anything you need, they have. Pretty much. 35 by 50. Let's take a look at the full specs on it. Plus 85. So it has a maximum temperature of 85 Celsius. I think that'll be fine. When these machines were built, they were going overboard. I guess, well, hey, we'll see what it... I mean, the measurements are what we want. It's funny how I don't think the picture is representative of the product. Oh, yeah, they're for reference only. Okay. All right. Now we got to find some of the others. The 16 volt 4700 micros. We needed 5 of those guys. So, let me get the measurement on those. All right, so we have a choice here. We can go with 1,000 hour rated ones or 5,000 hour rated ones. What do you think? The price difference is $322 versus $281. Now, as a good opportunity to mention, this is what manufacturers do all the time when they spec out when they're designing a VCR, a TV, a computer power supply, whatever it may be, a garage door opener controller board, or whatever the product may be. This is what the engineer will specify this. Okay, they're going to say this is what we want, and it costs $3.22 per unit. Let's say there's one of these in every widget they're making. Finance, or the bean counters, will say, well, 322, it's going to last longer, they're going to buy less units, and it costs us more. And even though the price difference is less than $1, you take that dollar price difference between this and this, and you multiply it by 1 million units. That's $1 million. Then the bean counter is going to save $1 million across that product's life cycle, however long they manufacture it. They're going to save $1 million just by speccing or buying this versus this. And they're also going to increase the number of units sold, in theory, over time, because the unit's going to fail sooner if they go with this one. So the customer is going to buy another TV sooner. The manufacturers do this all the time. If it can save as much as a penny per unit, that adds up, believe it or not. I'm going to go with the 5,000 hour one. It's a Panasonic. I'm actually going to go back and maybe look at a different, and make sure it's in stock too. I'm going to go back and I'm going to choose a different beer can power supply. A different capacitor. I think I want the better one. I'm going to try to find one with a higher lifespan than what I had previously selected. But let's continue on. We need a 16 volt 1000 microfarad. I love Mauser. Oh, I had the sizes all selected. Let's try that again. We gotta measure that one too. All right, so we need what, one of those? 16 volt 1000. They don't even mention a lifespan on these. Which one was it? It was this guy. We're going to replace this one right here. We're going to get a height measurement on it. About 20 millimeters. Oh, I don't even have size listed. So it is what it is. Whatever we get, we're just going to get, let's see. We don't want the cheapest, but we'll just go with this one. Buy one of those. It's $2. Remember, this may not even fix the problem. So a 450. Oh, I already got that. The 25 volt 2200. Yep, I don't even have size options. Now this is obvious. We don't want surface mount. They got 38 of those in. I'm going to stick with Elna just for the sake of sameness. We need 2 of those. Oh, Panasonic. I want to go with the Panasonic. I just trust Panasonic, I guess. 10,000 hour rating. Continue shopping. I'm going to relook up the, I got 4 items in my, let's see what we got here. There's the big ones. We got the 2200s, the 47s, the 1000s, and the 2200s, 215. This one, we're going to go back and respec that. Let's see. All right, now we got some results. So I got something with a 3,000 hour life, a 5,000 hour, but it's not the same. We can probably sub this 34 and almost 35 millimeter by 8. Oh, that's 80 millimeters. Which one am I looking at? 35 by 50. I checked for all in stock items. So we've got a slightly better version right here. We have 6 of these guys. It's a 30 by 50. I think that'll be fine. It's just a little bit narrower. 5,000 hour MTBF, and it looks like they've got 6 of these made by Rubicon. Scroll down a little bit more, and we got a few other options. Here's a Vichy for $15. Now look at that minimum quantity of 100. Yeah, this is a pretty specialty capacitor, I imagine. This one's a little bit shorter. It's not stock, not stock, not stock. I have it selected for in stock and active. Normally stocked. And it's not. Results remaining 1. So, I mean, we're just pulling teeth here. So, let's see, we got, yeah, it's got 1, just 1. Let's go with a 5,000 hour rating. 3 results. And 30, 50, 5,000 hour, 470, 450. This is what we want. I'm going to buy one of those. Minimum quantity of 1. And now we pay the piper. So this one here, we're going to pull from our cart. Oh, lead time 23 weeks. 326 can ship immediately. Good. This one had an MTBF of 3,000. You know what? Let's just stick with what we had. What the hell? I just don't want to put a 1,000 hour unit in there. Was it 3,000 hours? This one's up to 5. Let's just go with this one, the Rubicon. I'm going to do the Rubicon. Rubicon. And we're going to take out this one here. Just like $1 more. So. And now we pay. So when we return, I'll have the capacitors installed in this power supply. We'll probably do a video on that. And then we're going to just see what happens to it. And hopefully we get some results. Hopefully we get somewhere with this sucker.